When my wife told me she was moving back in with her ex to take care of him, I didn't argue. I just smiled, packed her bags, and even drove her there myself. But what I quietly slipped into his mailbox that night had him on his knees empty-handed within 48 hours. This is not a story about revenge. It's a story about what happens when you mess with the wrong kind of silence. My name's Michael Carter, a 36-year-old architect from Austin, Texas. For 9 years, I believed my marriage to Sarah was unbreakable. We built everything together. Our home, our dreams, our life. She was my calm after a long day, my reason to keep going. At least, that's what I thought. Until one evening, she sat across from me at the dinner table, eyes wet but determined, and said the words that would turn my world upside down. "Mike, I'm moving back in with Daniel." Daniel, her ex. A man she hadn't mentioned in years. Apparently he'd been going through something, and she wanted to take care of him. I stared at her, waiting for her to laugh. But she didn't. She just added softly, "You'll understand one day." Understand? No, Sarah, I didn't understand. But I did know one thing. When someone shows you who they really are, you don't argue. You observe, and you act. Instead of yelling or begging her to stay, I simply smiled. I told her I respected her decision. Then I packed her bags, every single thing that belonged to her, and even offered to drive her there myself. She looked shocked. Maybe she expected tears or anger, but I was calm. Almost too calm. As we reached Daniel's house, a suburban home at the edge of the city, she hugged me and said, "Thank you for understanding." I smiled again. Of course. Take care, Sarah. But as I drove away, I looked back once, not at her, but at the house, because I knew what I was about to do. See, Daniel wasn't some sick, helpless man. He was a liar, a manipulator, and the reason Sarah and I once nearly broke up. I found out he'd been messaging her for months, telling her he'd changed, that he needed her emotional support. But what Daniel didn't know was that I wasn't the same Michael either. That night, I went home, opened my laptop, and used my old contacts in real estate and finance. Within hours, I discovered something interesting. Daniel's company, registered under his name, was on the brink of bankruptcy. Worse, he'd been running illegal side deals under a fake business front. He was smart enough to fool Sarah, but not me. The next morning, I printed out everything: emails, bank records, fake invoices. I placed them in a neat brown envelope. Then I drove back to Daniel's house. No confrontation, no shouting, just quiet, deliberate action. I slipped that envelope into his mailbox, along with a simple note: "You took my wife. I'm taking your truth." Then I left. 48 hours later, I got a call, not from Sarah, but from Daniel's business partner. Turns out, someone, maybe a neighbor, maybe fate, found the envelope and passed it to the authorities. By the end of that week, Daniel's company was shut down, his bank accounts frozen. And Sarah? She showed up at my door, crying. "Mike, he lied to me. He's ruined. I didn't know." I looked at her, the same woman who said I'd understand one day. And I smiled again. I understand now. Then I closed the door. I didn't take joy in destroying Daniel's life. What I did wasn't revenge. It was balance. People think silence means weakness, but silence is preparation. It's power. It's the sound of a storm before it hits. In life, you don't always need to fight loudly. Sometimes the quietest moves make the loudest echoes. Weeks later, I moved out of that house and started fresh. New city, new job, new life. I learned that love without loyalty is like a home built on sand. No matter how beautiful it looks, it can't stand the rain. So if someone ever betrays you, don't waste your energy proving them wrong. Just let life show them what they lost. Because the best revenge is peace. Never chase those who choose to walk away. Real strength is in smiling while you let go.